But we will talk about why I won't be using Topstep going forward, to do with changes that they sent me on an email, which we'll discuss at the end. I almost feel like these stats are almost too good to be true, but this is just the Topstep account. So this is just my Topstep account, and the accounts are now closed because I did get to pretty much the last payout, and I didn't have enough in the account, so I took a couple losses on a couple days. 139,000 net is what I've received, and with the 10% taken into account, it's probably like 160 plus. It says 193 on here, but it hasn't accounted for any of the accounts that have been closed on like the first payouts, on like the first 2 or 3 payouts. So if you go to my email, you'll see here, these are all the payouts from this year. So all of the ones like when obviously accounts got closed due to either blowing the account with not having enough in there for the next payout, and then just getting another account. That is why my accounts that's why they balance on TradeZilla is slightly higher. But what I've officially received from Wise in my actual bank account, as you can see on here, all the way back from, I think February is where it February is pretty much where I started going heavy into these accounts. So Feb was my first payout, and then that pretty much gave me confirmation just to hit it hard. And from February all the way to pretty much, most of it was made May to June. But I as soon as I realized I knew I could do at least 2 25k payouts, basically 5,000 per account on 5 accounts twice a month, because you only need 5 days for a payout of $200 or more. And I knew, well, if I have 4 weeks in a month on average, I know I can probably do at least one every other week. And that is pretty much what I did into the last two months of the stint. But we will talk about why I won't be using Topstep going forward, or why I can't really use them, to do with changes that they sent me on an email, which we'll discuss at the end. But yeah, this is all the payouts received. It's just phenomenal. And this is just Topstep alone, right? So again, this is not any of my other accounts. Some of the things that really stand out for me is like when I'm right, I'm pretty much right away. And you can see on my stats here, like my daily average win, I don't think I took, let me just go back. I don't think I took an actual losing day. This only goes back to March, but I think I only took one losing day, which was 489. And I don't even think that's accurate, because I think that counted as a Sunday. So actually this isn't even accurate, because that would have been a Monday trade. So I guess the only thing I would say is obviously I took a loss on when I blew the accounts on the ones that I had in the past. The only reason I've not plugged those stats is because obviously the accounts go, so I don't have the trade report to be able to export, because the account gets taken off the dashboard, off the X platform. So other than that, I guess you could argue that's why there won't be any losing days. But even when I was having the accounts open, like on my past ones, the streak was pretty much, you'll see 16 green days in a row. So you can see this is the last stint of accounts that I had that I took 3 payouts in. I took 3 pretty much 24 to 25k payouts, and this was kind of my biggest one. And you can see this was pretty much 16 winning days back to back. You can see here on my payout request, you can see I got 16 days complete, and that was pretty much 100% win rate. So like my worst day was like $204, which is just pretty phenomenal. I'm going to repost that. Just on my dashboard here, you'll see, for example, this was a $96,000 month. $96,000 on just one prop firm, 5 accounts. So again, June was 96 or 97,000. I just took the two $1,000, which is $200 per 5 accounts, to get the last payment there on July, which came recently. May was 16k. April was 25. March was, so pretty much March, which was my birthday month. March and June were my best months. So yeah, phenomenal. So they are the days. And again, if you want to look at some of the stats, some people ask me for the stats on here. I'm not a huge stat guy, but hopefully this makes sense to some of you. You can see here the profit ratio 5.9%, average time 49, hold time 49 minutes. That's probably because I'm holding some on the overnight session, because 6 p.m. open is 11 o'clock at night for me. Sometimes I'll hold positions overnight my time. And then when I wake up in the morning at like 6 a.m. UK time, obviously that's like 1 a.m. New York local time. But again, it's not taken into account any of the accounts where I would have blown them, so they would have been a loss. So I just want to make that very clear. I'm not trying to say I haven't taken a loss. I have taken some losses. It's just not accounted for, because once the account's blown, I can't have access to the Topstep to do the trade export. Or if I have, I just haven't done it. So again, full transparency, that's why it's showing a higher amount. It will be lower than that, because there will be some accounts where there was maybe 2 or 3,000 in the account, and obviously that's gone out, so that's why that figure will be less. Easy way to work it out is if I've received 139,000, just work out what that 10% of the fees would have been prior to that being deducted, which I'll do on ChatGTP. I think it's about 156 to 160,000. So this is off by about 30k. So just be aware of that. But again, I just want to kind of talk through some of my key findings and sort of things that I want to reflect on these accounts. And I will say my sizing on these accounts did range from about 1 to 3 mini when I was in the actual XFA account. And I did try to get some good home run trades where I'm trading like 60 points to 100 points. And obviously if I've got 60 points on 3 minis, obviously that's working out to be about $1,800. Sorry, $3,600. That's what I was aiming for, $3,600. And if I just did that literally like 2 or 3 days a week, obviously that's $10,000, which is by all 5 accounts is 50,000. I would then obviously take out my half of that, which is $5,000 per account, which would be the 25k on 5 accounts. I didn't always use 3 minis. Sometimes I use 5 micros, but typically I was using 1 to 3 minis, and I was going for anywhere between 30 and 100 points, and I was just taking a couple good trades a week. You'll see on here my average wins. You'll be able to see when I was right big. And then on any of the smaller days like here, these $1,000 days, for example, there isn't many because there were days where I was getting more than that, but any days where like there's just $1,000, which you'll see here, I'm pretty much just trading 1 mini for 10 points just to get that $200. Sometimes just 3, 4 micros, but most of the time just 10 points just to get the $200 per account for 5 accounts, because you have to have that as a minimum to be able to take a payout. So that is that. But anyway, in terms of some of the goals going forward, so Topstep did reach out to me, and they did want to put me on a trader focused plan. Some of you who are obviously in the prop firm space will know exactly what that is, or at least have a rough idea of what that is. I didn't really know what it was, and I was kind of like shocked when I got the email, but I was kind of waiting for something. Why haven't they asked me to go to live is a question that I get quite a lot, and this is linking with this funded focused trader plan. Now, in some of these occasions when I've been trading, I haven't always had my stops in place. That is not because I don't use stops. If you've watched me for the past 4 years live on Discord or live on stream, you see I only use ATMs. Why don't I like adding limits in when I've got limit for my targets? Because if my target gets hit, but then my stop gets taken out, that will put me into a short, not a take profit. So if I put orders out there and I'm sleeping and both targets get hit, I could end up losing a lot of money. Tonight, I would put in the daily loss limit. So I would enter the trade and it would set those parameters, which I didn't mind. But if I'm in the day, then I will just literally, in simple terms, I will just manually do it on my phone or on the computer. So that's one of the reasons which I think they didn't like, because maybe they thought I was using high risk, like 3 minis. So I think the high potential risk, and I will be honest, I will blow counts. I have blown many accounts, and in all fairness, I think I've spent $25 or just over $25,000 on evaluation fees and activation fees in the whole cost of Topstep. Now I've brought back 139,000, so the ROI for me is completely worth it. But I understand Topstep may think I'm going through too many accounts. I'm using too many accounts. I'm trading aggressively, which they may not like, even putting me into a live account. There are various reasons why this may have happened in terms of why they have not put me into a live account. I do not know every single reason, and in all fairness, I haven't got the mental energy or even interest to ponder those questions further with them, because I think once they've made a decision, it's pretty much fixed, and you could either try your hardest to try and get that decision resolved, or you could just accept it and go into a different route, which is what I'm going to do. So that is touching on that. And again, the focused trader plan is pretty much, they want to give me one 50k account with a stop loss of $2,000. I've never even used the 50k accounts with them. I only ever used the 150s, maybe used a handful of 50k accounts when I first started with Topstep. But I always use one 50k account. So to use a $50,000 account, which is actually only a $2,000 account because that's your total risk, and half of that is your daily risk if you don't use Topstep X. So it just isn't enough risk for me to make, I'm not going to be able to make 100k months like I have done, using that amount of risk. So it just makes no sense for me, and I have to do that for 6 months. They said to me I need to be on the funded focused trader plan for 6 months. I would imagine the trading I've done has proven profitability. Anyway, I'm not going to spend too much time on it because I don't think it's worth spending that much time on it, because I've already kind of decided what I'm going to do, and what I'm going to do is obviously using different prop firms, as you can see on here. So I'm using several other prop firms. My top kind of three favorites are My Funded Futures, Trade Day, and Take Profit. Just in terms of my trading style, a lot of people ask about my trading style, and I'll try and keep it fairly straightforward. I will just give you an example of this week. So you can see on the daily time frame, that is this red line here, and you'll notice, you can barely see it because that also lines up nicely with that daily negative 100 completion. So you have two large completions there, and that is what set up the short. Now, you'll see, for those who were in the room yesterday, we took a short here, and we were short biased all day yesterday. And when that happened, when those two levels got traded, we ATR reversal up, which is basically a stop hunt trap, and we then trade a high to low halfway back trades, and we go full negative 100 completion. We then come into our next, we shorted that by the way, and we come into our next extension, and we go, I missed this because I took off early, but like I had already taken my trades, but this was a beautiful textbook. The only thing not textbook is it didn't complete the 23. So I'm kind of glad I didn't take it because I had already made money. And if I the short on here, I had targets at that negative 23. Did it live. We go on the live stream every single day, and all of our top tier members get to watch me trade live, and I have the audio on as well, and they see my screen live when I'm trading. But anyway, that was the short yesterday, and that's kind of how I view the market, just to give you a bit of a synopsis on how I view it. So I'm using Fibonacci's and I'm using ATRs, and that is pretty much all I'm really doing. So yeah, if you were interested in the strategy, that's what I use, and I think that's probably going to be the overall video. If there's any questions you'd like to ask, one thing just before you go, I am running a 50% off sale on the yearly top tier plan, which is basically getting 6 months free. And I'm also giving the masterclass for free, which is an $800 course, and also the indicators, which is worth $400, free inside the lifetime package, which is just under $2,000, $1,997, which if you work out how many months that is on a top tier plan with the masterclass, everything else, it's just ridiculously cheap. So that is available probably for the next 10 people. Yeah, be quick on that because that will go probably fairly quickly just because there's quite a lot of interest on that. So other than that, guys, I will see you all in the next video. If you like this, give it a thumbs up. If you've got any comments, put them in the comment section below, and I will do a second video breaking down any comments that I haven't broken down in this, because I understand there might be some other comments from other people that aren't thinking the same things as me. So it's good to get different perspectives from different people, and I would be happy to answer any questions. So other than that, guys, I will see you all in the next video, and thank you for watching.